Hey, this is Jeff. Welcome back to Coito Ergo Sum, Less Talk, More Action, a series which never says never. Except it just did, twice. Last week we learned that the Cytogenesis lab was once home to a community of scientists who stayed alive after the war by using the facility to clone themselves when their bodies wore out or got injured. About 80 years ago, a woman named Ilsa went outside, probably without permission, to see if the surface was habitable yet. Sometime between then and now, they all disappeared, except Dr. Carter, who's waiting for us in the transfer chamber. So maybe Ilsa came back with good news and everybody followed her outside, except Carter felt responsible for the protoplasmic accidents, so he stayed here to take care of them. Except he forgot to warn us they were in here and extremely dangerous, and he locked himself in the transfer chamber, so we had to hack his mainframe to get in. But I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation. Here's the transfer chamber, where they did the actual procedure of transferring the patient's memories and DNA differentiators into the protoplasmic templates. Carter should be in here somewhere. It looks like some of the equipment has been recently used. And someone's been fed.
You are persistent.
You had practical immortality and a state-of-the-art lab. What went wrong?
The first century was wonderful. No distractions, pure productivity. But after that, every subsequent decade. Strontium-90 is down to 0.03 by now. Cesium-137 must be under 0.05. We should see if anybody's left. You have no idea how tedious they became.
You could have just let them go.
It's not that easy when even your slowest team member is in the rightmost quarter of the bell curve.
There's some dangerous equipment in the labs. You could have arranged for the troublemakers to have an accident.
Yes, but when you can grow a new body, an accident would have to be implausibly dramatic to be fatal.
You don't seem like the type to back down from a challenge.
I had my moments. Ilsa left without authorization? If my policies drove her to that, I promise I'll reconsider. Oh, she never came back? It must not be safe outside. What a tragedy. That one kept them quiet for a while.
Well, you must have figured something out. They're all gone.
Yes and no, respectively.
By yes, you mean you figured something out?
A bit of misdirection with the safety badges, a seemingly fatal gamma dose. Everyone into the transfer chambers! Customer's order well done. Kitchen delivers rare.
So by no, you mean they aren't gone?
They're much more pleasant without extraneous features like vocal cords and personalities. Not as helpful with the research, of course, but some sacrifices were necessary.
Those things were your co-workers? I think I'm going to be sick.
I have a treatment that will completely eliminate nausea. Unfortunately, you may find it even less pleasant than the symptom.
If you pick different options during that dialogue, he does explain that he didn't want to let them leave because he was afraid they'd lead looters or other enemies back to the lab, which was a reasonable concern, but even if he considered their actions to basically be mutiny, how he handled it was way over the line. If you pass that speech challenge at the end, he's a little less of a straight-up homicidal maniac, but he still ends up trying to kill you. Either way, he has a heavy incinerator, which really hurts, and 2 protoplasmic abominations backing him up. They're just bigger, tougher, uglier versions of the protoplasmic accidents we fought last week, so I'm not even messing with them. I'm heading straight for the sterilization chamber. If you hesitate in the transfer chamber and they corner you while he takes pot shots with the incinerator, it's all over. So, little head fake, back out, close the door. Textbook. I'll initiate the sterilization pulse. I could have survived it from inside, but I'm out of Radaway, and that would have really handicapped me taking on Carter. Speaking of Carter... Oh, right there. Run away! Pop a stim pack. Yeah, he's had 200 years to tweak his genome, so he's really tough, sort of a Khan Noonien Singh genetic Superman type, and taking him on toe-to-toe Enfield versus Heavy Incinerator would be a big mistake. So hopefully I can play a little cat and mouse, maybe get the drop on him. I'm already in caution, so he doesn't know where I am, which is excellent. These terminals near the kickball room, Fraps wasn't recording when I read them last week. They aren't connected to the network, but they have notes that range from completely incoherent to people struggling to remember basic math and science, which makes sense now because they retained some of their old memories after Carter turned them into monsters. Now, if he's still trying to follow me through ops, I can cut through the break room and sneak up behind him. Nope, he's in the research lab. Yeah. Headshot took down maybe a quarter of his health bar tops, so I'm out. Alright, we'll cut through the sterilization chamber, try to get behind him again. Okay. Alright, he lost me. Excellent. The sterilization chamber doesn't work on him, by the way. It only disintegrates what the terminals call partially differentiated life forms. It was an emergency precaution for failed experiments before the war, so it works on the protoplasmic abominations. But if the cloning process is completed correctly, you end up being 100% human again, so it doesn't work on him. And unfortunately, my perception isn't that great. If I'd have brought Eddie with me, I could probably see Carter on my compass. But companions can die permanently in hardcore mode, so I didn't dare bring anybody with me to do this. I don't think he followed me into the MCOS lab. So he's either around here... He might have gone back downstairs when he lost me. Is he in the machine shop? No? Maybe he went all the way back down to the transfer chamber. Hello? Dr. Carter? The marker's that way, but I don't see him. Oh, the marker's not on Carter, it's on the mainframe, because we need to copy the data for Larry. I've been chasing the wrong thing. So he's probably back upstairs. He could totally still be in the MCOS lab. Well, he could be anywhere, but... Oh. Alright, he wasn't in the machine shop or the reactor room, so he has to be farther up. Right. Yeah, he's trying to block my escape so I don't go tell the whole world he's down here. Oh, right there. Ow. Yeah, he's hurt bad enough now that I can just finish him off. I'm not going to run. Oh, where'd he go? We might have failed a morale check. If he's fleeing, he's screwed because I already disabled or destroyed all of his robots and turrets. Well, there he is. What the hell? Is there an invisible wall in that corner or something? There's no way I'm missing. Well, that hit him. That was weird. Oh, maybe I was hitting him, but he's just that tough that it didn't knock a full notch off his health bar, but... No. There it was taking 1 or 2 shots per segment. I hit him 5 or 6 times in the R&D library, and there was no effect. Well, doesn't matter. Now you die. Loot the body. I'm close to being encumbered, so I'll just take the key for now. Which conveniently unlocks the express elevator down to the transfer chamber. And now we actually want to follow the quest marker to the mainframe at the back of the room. Back up research data. And we just need to transmit the data to Larry. But before we leave, let's check out Carter's bedroom. There's a creepy little epilogue in here, and another piece of my plan to take over lollipops from Hilly at rock bottom prices. There are skill books and other good loot that I don't have the carry capacity for right now, but we'll be back. And a terminal with Carter's personal log. First entry is about 60 years after the war, when everything was still running pretty smoothly. Isolation. Rigged the receiver to loop white noise and intermittent automated distress signals on all frequencies. Live transmissions are corrosive to morale. Need time to perfect our process, perfect ourselves, be ready to repopulate and rebuild. If we abandon the plan, unseal early, the next pathetic cries for help will be coming from us. So that's when Carter started lying to his staff about other survivors. Next one, exactly 100 years after the war, calculation. Anniversary no sane person wants to remember, and Ilsa springs a new half-life calculation on us at a staff meeting. Spent an hour convincing them non-lethal doesn't equal safe. You'd think scientists would be immune to the common man's superstitious fascination with round numbers. 11 years later, contagion. Ilsa and her damn Fallout projections, causing manic-depressive epidemic. Half want to contact other survivors, half think there aren't any. Takahashi was obvious suicide attempt. Nobody forgets a sterilization pulse. Shaved his head the week prior so we wouldn't notice hair falling out. Maybe thought enough rad damage would prevent DNA transfer. Stupid, but what do you expect from a bit flipper? He'll get a new body and go back to work. Can't let him get away with insubordination. Then the day Ilsa left, solution. Solved the Ilsa problem. Let her leave quietly, locked the doors behind her, turned turrets back on. Didn't even have to tidy up. Blew her into the fountain, conveniently obstructed from security cameras. Others will spend months convincing me they weren't accomplices in her unauthorized exit, years wondering why she doesn't come back. Finally helpful in death. Symbolic atonement for decades is a contrarian pain in the ass. So in 100 years, he's gone from pragmatic but basically compassionate to pretty ruthless to a cold-blooded murderer. 20 years later, insurrection. Hodges knows about Ilsa. Can't imagine how, but I can tell. Hard to say how many others he's turned against me. Need decisive action. Taking care of the ringleader won't suffice this time. And now it's hard to tell if that was true or if he was just paranoid. Less than a year later, complication. Should have let them form a bit longer. Downside 1, barely trainable. Downside 2, I know more about fixing genes than fixing gene sequencers. Could take months to learn electronics. Upside 1, obedient disposition compensates for lack of genitalia. Not as good as a sex bot, but better than an inflatable doll. Upside 2, can finally turn radio back on. Interesting things happening in the world. Will still emerge as a god among men eventually. So yeah, there is so much wrong with that, I don't know where to start, but he's obviously lost it. And finally, only about 20 years ago, transformation. Fifth copy, fifth improvement. Once found previous logs disturbing. Lack of empathy, paranoia, delusions of grandeur. Minimal neurorelocation errors. Other cause? Pathological? Always mad? No. Transcending limitations of human philosophy, morality, sanity. Once hoped wasteland survivors could become students, subjects. No, too primitive. Raw material? Playthings? Yes. Work almost finished. Soon time to play. So if I felt any lingering doubt about killing Carter when he tried to flee, I don't now. And here's the icing on the very creepy cake. Over here we have a protoplasmic accident in a nightie. Yeah. You seem more docile than the others. Can you understand me? What Carter did to you is unspeakable. Do you want me to end your suffering?
Never die!
Actually, I killed him. Now that he's gone, you could.
Never kill!
I'll take that as a no. Do you want to go to a nice place with friendly people?
Never again!
I don't know who you were before. Maybe Hodges. But I can give you a new life away from here.
Never stop you!
With Carter, you were less than a slave, a thing. With me, you'd be a valued employee again.
Stop pain!
That's right. Real food, drink, and plenty of what you were redesigned for. Let's go.
Again!
I still think there could be some happy medium between euthanizing her and hiring her as a prostitute, but it is what it is. Well, here we are. Sadly, there's no option to change her wardrobe. I'm trying to stick to the Lollipop's red and black color scheme for the staff uniforms. The protoplasmic accidents have a unique body, so I guess it wasn't practical to make a wardromatic size just for them, but it would still be nice to have some options other than the nightie. Although, the Lollipop's logo does have some white in it, so I guess that works. And I can't just call you protoplasmic accident. How about Tammy the Template? Okay, see you later. All right, let's go find Hilly and collect our finder's fee. There he is. Excuse me, Rondo.
Case you ain't noticed, that gooey thing ain't got no lady parts. Ain't got no fella parts neither. No parts at all, really. On the other hand, you ain't gonna find nothing like that on the strip, that's for damn sure.
All right, see you later.
Have a good one.
All right. In fact, the dress I gave Maria is...
Oh,
Rondo. The dress I gave Maria is one of the new outfits that was added by the 4.0 upgrade. And I don't think...
what do you need, baby?
Yeah, Rondo doesn't have an inventory option either.
See you around, baby.
I'm not sure why. Seems like he should. Anyway, I'm going to go home, get some water and sleep before I turn in the quest, so I get the bonus XP for being well rested. Hey, look at this. Looks like Kekata spruced the place up a bit. Welcome mat, planter boxes on the banisters, some nice flowers, garden around the side, a tree. Oh, please tell me this maze is pickable. Yes. I don't have the carry capacity right now, but this is so much more convenient than raiding the greenhouses at the sharecropper farm. Another welcome mat, more flowers around back. Totally cool. All right, food, drink, and sleep. Oh, there's Kekata. I just have a couple more errands to run, honey. I'll be right back.
Hey man, how's it hanging?
I found a vacuum tube. Want to trade?
Sure. What do the markings say?
I have a 40K 5C.
Those are pretty common, but I'll take it.
And a 6D 12C.
Oh, these things practically grow on trees. I can still use it, though.
And the 3M6K you were looking for.
Yes, that's the one I needed. I don't know where you found it, but that deserves something special. I think you'll like this.
Drum roll, please. 3 stealth boys. Awesome. Think he gave us a mini nuke last time.
Lollipops DC.
I have the research logs from Cytogenesis. I'm sending them now.
Excellent. I'll forward these to Dr. Mauser immediately. He gets cranky when he doesn't have a problem to solve. Well, more cranky. In all seriousness, I doubt this was an easy task, and you have my sincere gratitude. More tangibly, if this results in any practical breakthroughs, say, formulas for useful chems, I'll be sure to transmit them to you.
That completes A Cure for All Ills Part 1. Can we talk about your medical research?
Certainly.
A friend of mine has DeLeon syndrome. Dan said you have a cure.
Yes, I'll have the research staff transmit the formula immediately. You'll need proper facilities to produce it, of course.
Facilities which I just found, as it happens. Medical research seems like an odd line of business for a porn king.
A few decades after the war, when something resembling commerce began to return, I had an entertainer in my employ who never seemed to age. I convinced myself her pain was psychological, her increasing dependence on drugs and alcohol a way to cope with the grim state of the world. By the time I faced the truth that it was a new mutation, DeLeon syndrome, it was too late. The research is a debt I owe to her memory.
So Lollipops DC is a strip club / research lab? What, you do topless gene splicing?
No, the club is pure erotica. But there's an extensive fallout shelter beneath it. The site was chosen for rather tedious logistical reasons. Vault L was designed to keep residents alive indefinitely in the aftermath of Armageddon, survivors and their descendants if necessary. It was equipped not only for routine care and emergencies, but for research into unexpected effects of nuclear or biological warfare. But my greatest asset is a knack for hiring talented people. I've been blessed with brilliant physicians and an exceptionally competent partner.
Enough about medical research.
Yes, I prefer to leave that to the experts and focus on my own specialty, matters of the libido.
I'd like to talk about things before the Great War.
Of course.
I heard you were charged with treason. Why?
The relationship between Lollipops and the political establishment was always adversarial. We defended our First Amendment rights quite aggressively. We used the courts, the media, any means at our disposal. We pissed on the boots of many powerful people, and in the end, they had their revenge.
You didn't answer the question. There must be more to it than that.
I was blacklisted by Vault-Tec. When I realized war was inevitable, we acquired their designs through side deals with their subcontractors. The permits and licenses were valid, but some of the patents were retroactively classified top secret. The Emergency Powers Act accomplished what decency statutes could not: do away with lollipops and yours truly under the auspices of national security.
How did you escape?
I was being transferred to a facility closer to the federal court in D.C. when hostilities with China commenced. My captors had outfitted me in ballistic armor head to toe. They didn't want a patriotic vigilante to deny them the spectacle of a trial. I survived an atomic blast in uncomfortably close proximity. My escort, a U.S. Marshal, was not so fortunate. I liberated his riot gun and made my way to the alleged crime scene, just a few miles from the trial venue.
And the radiation exposure turned you into a ghoul?
My geneticist believes the process is a bit more complicated than that, but essentially, yes.
Never mind. I'm sure that brings up a lot of bad memories.
It was a difficult time, but I've come to terms with it.
I found the police files on Fresca Coy. Vault-Tec killed her trying to learn Voltel's location.
Those bastards. She didn't even know. She said she wasn't interested in survival if it meant cowering in a hole in the ground the rest of her life. We never spoke of it again. When I heard she died, I assumed, well, for 2 centuries I blamed myself.
You suspected it was suicide? Then why blame yourself?
She and Bruni were as deeply in love as any 2 people I ever met. I thought she might have taken steps to sever any ties Bruni had to the doomed world, so she would accept my invitation and save herself in Voltel.
Well, I hope you never told Bruni that. She sounds like one scary chick.
That she was. It was her book that got the case reopened. I believe tonight I will drink a toast to Brunhilde Van Dyke. And to you, thank you for giving me closure.
I heard that prostitution was illegal before the war.
For the most part, that's true. It was allowed in rural Nevada and some of the more progressive countries in Europe and Asia. Blue Diamond was the only lollipops club in the United States where touching the entertainers was not only allowed, but encouraged.
Enough about the past.
Yes, I much prefer the future.
Goodbye.
I look forward to a long and profitable relationship.
Now, I think, because we didn't overwrite Handy, yep, Cure for All Ills Part 2 starts automatically. There are corresponding but very different events if you lied to her, which, you can watch the old walkthrough if you want to see that ending. So we just need to retrieve Deloitte's suitcase, which we gave to Hilly.
How's it going?
Maria? It was actually a serious tactical error on my part to give it to him in the first place because it increases saloon business without increasing costs, but we'll fix that right now.
Howdy.
I need the simulation gear. Where is it?
Here you go. Have fun, but try not to keep it for too long. Wouldn't have thunk it, but that damn thing draws as much business as them flesh and blood whores.
All right, see you later.
Have a good one.
But that's a whole new can of worms, so we'll make a cure for Maria and a body for Fresca next week. See you then.